And good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Let me bring y'all a little closer to me. All right. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, beloved. Welcome to Community Check-In. I always want to talk to those people who are watching this and not watching it live. Why? Well, because the people who are watching it live need time to come in. But if you're watching this and you're not live, then you come right to the beginning and you get me right away. And I just want to remind you that if you're watching this live, you can always fast forward about 20 minutes to get to the word and prayer, or you can fast forward wherever you need to go. You can skip, hop, jump wherever you need to skip, hop, and jump to get what is most meaningful and what's best for you. So, with that being said, do that. If you want to skip all the greetings and salutations, if you want to skip the question of the day, get right into the word. Maybe you want to get right into the prayer. You just came because you need prayer in your life. Then do whatever you need to do so that this can be most beneficial to you. For the rest of us who are coming in, well, let me say welcome to Community Check-In. Welcome to Community Check-In. Here's what I want to do. As you all are coming in, and just give you a little time to get in and get settled. I want to give you time to get in and get settled. Come on. Welcome. As you all are getting in and getting settled. It's good to see each and every one of you. It's been about a week since we saw each other. We missed Tuesday. Tuesday was Valentine's Day. If you go to my Facebook and my Instagram, you can see I posted all the wonderful places I went in New York. Very fast trip. Got in Monday evening, left Wednesday morning, but had a really good time on Valentine's Day. And I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day as well. Um, Here's what I'd like you to do. More of you are gathering, more of you are gathering. As you're doing that, here's what I'm going to ask of you. Do me a favor. Let's take a moment right now to like and share. I'm going to do just that. I'm going to be liking and I'm going to be sharing. And as I'm doing that, um, once I get done, we'll kind of get into the hellos and our question of the day. So I'm going to be liking and sharing. So let me find this. Here we go. Here. Let me share. As I'm sharing, let me remind you that today's word, we are actually picking up from something that I talked about on Sunday. If you've not been watching the Sunday series, Love Works, we're halfway through. Well, not halfway, actually, it's going to be a longer series. But we're 2 weeks into Love Works, and I did Sunday, I told you all, because of the limited time, and y'all, I went long Sunday. Just kind of shows you how much we had to cover. I said on Sunday that I was going to pick up from one of the points I made on Sunday, and I was going to expatiate. I was going to elaborate. I was going to explain something that we talked about Sunday, and I was going to talk more about it today. What did we talk about Sunday? Well, we're talking about the works of love. Love works. And we said one, love works. That was the first week. That love works. It works. It puts in effort. It puts in intentional effort. It goes to work. Then last week we said, or this past Sunday um, we said that love sacrifices. Love sacrifices. And when we were talking about that, we talked about this idea of safeguarding ourselves so that our sacrificing won't put us in danger of a self abuse, of self self-flagellation. Y'all know I like a big word or two. And so today we're going to talk more about that, about how do I safeguard myself so that my sacrificing is not abusive, is not unhealthy. Because all of us probably know someone, and maybe we've been that someone who sacrifices to the detriment of themselves. How do you safeguard yourself against sacrificing to the detriment of yourself? We're talking about that today. So before we talk about that, do me a favor. Make sure you put that like button, that blue and white thumbs up, that red and white heart, and or make sure you share this live. All right, I'm sharing that now. Now I'm going to try sharing another way. What am I doing here? Boom. Here we go. Let's share from there. Y'all know I have a more professional page that I never use, that I don't do anything with. It's called B.A. Jackson. And I'm trying to do a better job of sharing on that page. So now I think I've shared on both pages and I'm ready to get in down to business. Okay, first of all, let's say hello. Let's say hello. We've been here all this time and I hadn't even said hello to some of you all. Sean Washington, Shantae Washington, Anthony, good afternoon. It's great to see you today. Morel K, good afternoon to you. Blessings to you. Yolanda Davidson, it's always good to see you and blessings to you. Troy Valdez, it's good to see you. And Gloria Martin says, good afternoon, Pastor B and folk family. And of course, good afternoon to you, Gloria Martin. Somebody's on Fellowship of Love Church, sharing from Fellowship of Love Church. So I'll just say it's got to be Amy, y'all, who's saying good afternoon, Pastor and Facebook family. So when she figures that out, we'll come back to her. Karen Valdez, good afternoon to you. Blessings to you. Great Deacon Patricia Burton, it's good to see you. And Amy Cowherd, blessings to you. Good afternoon. Clearly, you're on Facebook and on YouTube, and we're glad to have you on both. Michelle Gordon, blessings to you. Lisa Norwood, great to see you and good to have you, and good afternoon to you. I like this. Love sacrifices was an absolutely amazing topic. Again, if you have not seen it, it was Sunday's virtual worship. I encourage you to go and check it out. Dr. Evelyn Ellis from Vermont. It's great to see you. I felt closer to you when I was in New York Tuesday, even though I still felt so far away. But I felt closer because I was in your region. I was in the Northeast, and it was good just to be closer to you. Deacon Deborah Dorsey, hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon to you. Dina Self, great to see you today, and good afternoon to you. And good afternoon again. Bird, are you okay? Are you okay, William Bird? Because you know you've been on my heart. I know Sunday was rough on y'all. Let me tell you what I liked about the Super Bowl. William Bird, y'all, is from Chester, Pennsylvania. He was a Philadelphia fan. They went to Philadelphia to go watch the game because they were highly anticipating, celebrating with the Philadelphia Eagles fans. Yes, I was going for Kansas City, but I wasn't rooting against Philadelphia, if that makes sense. I like both teams. Both teams have black quarterbacks from Texas, and so I like both teams. I really, really was blown away and happy about how Jalen Hurts played. I don't think anybody walked away from that Super Bowl having any aspersions about Jalen Hurts and the way he played. He played a phenomenal game. If ever a losing quarterback played a phenomenal and winning championship game, Jalen Hurts did so on Sunday. But I hope you're all right. I'm glad to see you in check-in. Sonia Harper, good afternoon to you. And Margaret White Darby, I feel like it's been a while. I know you've been in, but it's been a while since you've been on the front end with the greeting. So good morning, she says, because it is in the morning in New Orleans. So good morning to you. All right, let's get into our question of the day. Here's the question of the day. It's really something I'm asking you to tell me about. Um, Tell me about a sacrifice you have made in your life that was worth it. That's the question of the day. Tell me about a sacrifice that you have made in your life that was worth it. That's what I want to know today. Tell me about a sacrifice that you have made in your life that was worth it. Okay? That's our question of the day. I'm going to go in here while you all are answering the question of the day. I'm going to go here and I am going to make sure I have our prayer request. Morel K, I have your prayer request. Thank you so much for asking, and I've added Lenore Henry to your prayer request. Yolanda Davidson, thank you so much. I am listing your prayer request as we speak. For those of you who are just coming in, we're doing our question of the day, and this is what it is. Tell me about a sacrifice you made in your life that was worth it. While you all are writing those in the comments and posting on YouTube and on Facebook, I am gathering our prayer requests and making sure that I put everyone's prayer list on my prayer request. Amy Cowherd, thank you so much. I am getting you down today. I've got to purge my prayer request list after I get off here today. Tell me about a sacrifice in your life that was worth it. I'm gathering prayer requests as you all are doing so. Deacon Patricia Burden, thank you so much. I am putting Annie Murphy on our prayer list. Gloria Martin, thank you for chiming in and adding in today. And I am putting your prayer list on our prayer request list. Okay, Gloria Martin. You all are answering the question of the day. I'm getting all our prayers from the comments, and then we're going to get into the question of the day. See your answers. You're supposed to be telling me about a sacrifice you've made in your life that was worth it. Tashawn, hello. It's good to have you, and thank you again for being up. Let me why I put that up there. Evelyn Ellis, this was our backup. This was our backup live from check-in for YouTube greeter. Tashawn was our YouTube greeter. Kelly, her name is really also Kelly, you all. Kelly Carter out of Grand Prairie, Texas. Thank you so much again for being our virtual greeter this past Sunday in Evelyn Ellis's absence. And we looking forward. Evelyn, if you ever have to miss again, Tashawn has all the information. And so we're grateful that when you cannot be our virtual greeter, we have a great and able backup. So thank you so much again. And Felicia Andrediva Holmes, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here today. All right, you all, you're supposed to be telling me about a sacrifice that was worth it. And I am still taking prayer requests. And as I'm doing that, I see Lisa Norwood. I'm getting your prayer request down as we speak. Ashanti Edmonds, it's great to see you. Hello to you, friend. And Sonia Harper, I'm getting your prayer list. You all are supposed to be going to the comments telling me about a sacrifice you've made in your life that was worth it. Tell me about a sacrifice in your life that was worth it. And I am writing down, I'm getting Sonia Harper. I'm getting your prayer list as we speak. Well, I was getting it, and now my computer is not responding to my touch. Okay, maybe this is the first signs I need to get a new computer. Okay, well, I know part of it is I need an update, but oh my goodness, don't do this to me now, computer. Let me try coming away from it. Okay, coming back to it. All right, there we go. That unlocked it. I need to do an update, you all. I need to do an update. Sonia Harper, I'm looking for your prayer request, and here they are. Got you, Sonia Harper. All right, all right, all right. Okay, now I look back up and I've got more prayer requests, and that's totally fine. Thank you all so much. Margaret White Darby, I am getting then your prayer request. Where are you all? Okay, I had to miss y'all somewhere here. There we go. There you are, Margaret White Darby. All right, there you go, Margaret White Darby. I'm getting your prayer request. Got a lot of prayer requests today, and I love it. We've got a lot of prayer requests today, and we're about to get into, as soon as I get these prayer requests. All right. Ashanti, I have your prayer request. Felicia Auntie Diva, I am praying for your heart health. I don't know how it is that I can't ever make these pop-ups, Felicia. I'm going to be in San Antonio this Saturday. Of course, I've told you all my mom's best friend died. Tomorrow, I'm leaving right back out of town to go to San Antonio to go to a funeral on Saturday. But I am going to be praying. All right, y'all. I've got all our prayer requests. Let's get into some of these answers. We've got some great answers for our question of the day. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's dig in. Let's dig in. Here we go. The question of the day was simply this: tell me about a sacrifice you've made in your life that was worth it. The first answer we have, here we go. I sacrificed my freedom for marriage. Totally worth it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, let me give you this. In philosophy, William Byrd, one of the things we talk about is positive freedom versus negative freedoms. Negative freedoms are like freedoms from a negative freedom, the freedom being free from the chains of a prison, a negative freedom being free from the confines of a room, a negative freedom being free from, whenever you're free from something, that's considered a negative freedom. A lot of times we talk about sacrificing our freedom, we're talking negative freedoms. Evan Ellis, you probably know something about this. But in philosophy, they also talk about positive freedoms. Now, if negative freedoms are freedoms from something, from shackles, from chains, from isolation, from mental health issues, that these things that grab me. For negative freedoms are I get out of this. I am from getting out of this. But there are positive freedoms called freedom to, the freedom to, right? So felony people who have felonies are working for the freedom to vote. Yes, there are negative freedoms, there are positive freedoms. I came here today to tell you that you sacrifice some freedoms, but you got some other freedoms to love more deeply, to love more intimately. Yes, you sacrifice some freedom from some things, but you also got some freedom to some things in marriage. Come on, can I talk to somebody today? That's what we also need to know about sacrificing. When we sacrifice from some things, but we sacrifice to other things. So I want to encourage you today that when you got marriage, you also gain some freedoms, to freedom to love intimately, freedom to love eternally, freedom to love in a quotidian, everyday way. That's what I'm talking about. We got some freedoms too. And so I just want you to remind you of that. That's a great answer. We're talking about sacrifices today. Tell me about a sacrifice that was worth it. Amy Cowherd chimes in. Joining the Army upgraded my quality of life, was well worth it. You sacrificed some levels of freedom. You didn't have the freedom to decide where you wanted to go and where you wanted to live, but you got certain freedoms, which was freedom to have a better quality of life, freedom to see places you may have never seen before. I love this. Amy Cowherd joining the Army. Here we go. Dina Self says, I'm currently sacrificing my hiking time to be available for my family and to be present when they need since the accident, and it's so very worth it to and for me. I like that, Dina. Thank you so much. If you're coming in today, here's what we're talking about before we get into the word. Tell me about a sacrifice you've made in your life that was worth it. Evelyn Ellis chimes in. The hundreds of miles of training for distance racing. That's right. I forgot you were a distance runner. That makes me so excited. I can't run now, but no one can take away the discipline and lessons learned from it. I'm stronger. I'm stronger for the sacrifice. All right, all right, all right. I love this. We're talking about sacrifices, you all. And so the question of the day is, tell me about a sacrifice you've made in life that was worth it. Here's Patricia Burton's chime in. Deacon Patricia Burton says, I lost 20 pounds last year by giving up many foods I love. Okay, I like these answers. And I started exercising more, and it was worth it. But half is back because of a knee injury. But I will lose those pounds again. Deacon Burton, I love this so much. I love this so much. I'm on my own weight loss journey now. I'm right at under 190 pounds. I'm trying in the next 2 weeks to be under 185, maybe 183. If I can get on the lower 180s, I'd be very happy in the next 2 weeks. Got a tournament coming up, so I'm hoping to lose a little more weight. Tell me, you all, about a sacrifice that you've made in your life that was worth it. Lisa Norwood says, having my son is a sacrifice that is worth it. I never wanted children, ever. But here come old Dawson Norwood. I've never known a greater love except for God, of course. My God, I like me. I like this, y'all. I like this. We're talking about sacrifices that have been worth it, Margaret White Darby says, I sacrificed my favorite hobby, shopping, and spending freely to buy a house. The sacrifice of shopping was worth having your own house. I love these answers. Here we go. Last answer before I give mine and we go into the word. Sacrifice spending money on myself when my kids were young to give them whatever they needed. And today I can spend money on me with a smile. Great answer, Sonia Harper. I love it. That's a little bit of, I'm going to say, the sacrifice I made was social life. I had to sacrifice a lot of my social life to be a present and active father. It was very important to me. One, to keep my time with my son, but also to be there for my son. And so it was a sacrifice for me to get used to telling people no, not looking for a babysitter, and recognizing and realizing that when I had my son, I was not available to go out. I was not available to go out to the movies with people. I was not available to go out to dinner. I was not able to go out to parties. I was not able to go out and have the same type of fun I was before I had a child. But guess what? My son, knowing that I love him, my son, knowing that I'm present for him, my son, knowing that he is a priority in my life, was been well worth it. It was well worth it. It was well worth it. Let me just throw this up really quick. Felicia Holmes wants you to know the Life South Blood Mobile will be at the pop-up for anyone wanting to be a blood donor 11 to 4. Listen, I don't know when, Felicia Auntie Diva Holmes, but I'm going to donate blood someday. Is that Life South Blood Mobile? Is this is your business pop-up? Just know at some point I'm going to catch you. At some point, I'm going to catch you, but I hope everything goes well. If you're in the Fayetteville area, come to downtown Fayetteville. And if you've never donated blood and you can, please donate blood this Saturday from 11 to 4. Now, let's get into this word today. Today, what we're talking about is this past Sunday, we talked about love working. And one of the works of love we talked about this Sunday is love sacrifices. Love sacrifices. If you've not liked and or shared, right now would be a great time to like and share this live. If you've not liked or shared, right now would be a great time to like and to share this live. Now, I told you all on Sunday this, and this is true. I always get squeamish. I always get squeamish when talking about at least two things in Christianity. Sacrifice and suffering. None of us like to suffer. I get squeamish when talking about sacrifice and suffering. Suffering, let me talk about that for just about 30 seconds. Oftentimes in Christianity, there's this theme of redemptive suffering. One of the things that comes from, of course, is the cross. Jesus Christ suffers so that we might have life. And so one of the themes that comes out of Christianity is the idea that when we suffer, it can be redemptive. The problem, the backside, the dark side of this idea is that people began to abuse and misuse suffering, and people who are oppressors and people who cause suffering began to use this idea of redemptive suffering as a means to get some person to suffer for them. Yes. Black people in America have a weird relationship with this idea of redemptive suffering. Women in a sexist and patriarchal country and world have a strange relationship with this idea of redemptive suffering. Because so often it is the case that people of color, women, children, bear the brunt of being asked to suffer in a toxic and unhealthy way. Yet this idea of Christian redemptive suffering is thrown in their face to fuel their oppression and abuse. So I get squeamish when I start talking about suffering in Christian context because it's been so misused. Such is the case with talks about sacrifice. Such is the case with talks about sacrifice. I get squeamish when talking about sacrifice. Why? Because sacrifice has been used in abusive ways. Sacrifice have been used in toxic ways. In fact, beloved, whether it was a friendship, whether it was a romantic relationship, whether it was an employer, just go into the comments and let me know if you've seen it in someone else or if you've experienced in any shape, form, or fashion abusive sacrifice. I'm asking you to go into the comments and just be a witness today. If you've seen someone abuse the idea of sacrifice in the workplace, if you've seen someone abuse the idea of sacrifice in a friendship, if you've seen someone abuse the idea of sacrifice in a romantic relationship, if you've seen someone abuse the idea of sacrifice historically. Once again, Black people, I believe, have a strange relationship with sacrifice because Black people have been asked to sacrifice for America in toxic and unhealthy ways. There are women who are in relationships where two people have a 9 to 5, are asked to sacrifice their free time and downtime to do housekeeping and housemaking, to do the work of rearing and raising a child. That is unhealthy. That is abusive sacrifice. I'm asking you, Facebook friends and YouTube followers, if you've ever seen sacrifice misused and abused, go into the comments and let me know. You don't have to tell your business. Just say, I've seen it. I've seen sacrifice being abused. I've seen people asking for sacrifice who are asking for it in an abusive way. If you've ever witnessed it, if you've ever experienced it, if you've ever seen it, I'm asking that you go into the comments and let me know. Evelyn Ellis says, too many times. Have you ever seen someone use the idea, someone ask someone to sacrifice in an unhealthy way? Have you ever seen someone who is not sacrificing for someone in the same where they're asking someone to sacrifice for them? Sonia Harper is a witness today. Anybody else have ever seen sacrifice be abused? Patricia Burton, thank you so much. Said, I've seen it many times. Deborah Dorsey comes in and says yes. And so if you all have seen this, Dana says, I've witnessed it and experienced it. Then you kind of then understand why I get squeamish about this idea of sacrifice. In fact, hear this. I don't believe, as a preacher of the gospel in a Christendom that has misused sacrifice, if I am being responsible, if I don't ever give these caveats and these disclaimers and these explanations about sacrifice, I don't believe I'm preaching about sacrifice responsibly, knowing how it has been abused and misused without giving caveats about sacrifice. And so on this past Sunday, I gave 2 things, and I want to expound on them a little bit, ways that you can safeguard yourself against abusive sacrifice. I'm trying to help somebody today. Maybe there's someone you need to tag. Maybe there's someone right now that you need to share this with. Maybe somebody's popping up in your mind and you need to pass this along because they are right now in an abusive relationship where they're being able to ask to sacrifice in unhealthy ways. 2 boundaries I gave this past Sunday. You might remember the first boundary I said is if you are in a relationship where you are being asked to sacrifice, make sure when you sacrifice, you meet in the middle. The first safeguard against abusive sacrifice is in any relationship. Make sure that when you sacrifice, you meet in the middle. Now, let's start with our relationship with God, because we're always asking us Christians, preachers, are always asking us to sacrifice ourselves for our relationship with God. But here's what I want you to know. The beauty about Christianity is it reminds us and it tells us that we have a God that sacrifices for us. And so in Christianity, when God asks for our sacrifice, God is not asking anything of us that God is not willing to give for us. So when we talk about spiritual sacrifice, listen to this. We're always meeting in the middle. Such ought to be the case in our relationships. When we are in relationships, we ought to meet in the middle. Now, what I mean by that is, I don't mean that every time, it's not tit for tat. It's not tit for tat, Felicia Holmes or Sonia Harper. It's not that every time I make a sacrifice, you got to make a sacrifice. And if I sacrifice money today, you've got to sacrifice money tomorrow. And if I sacrifice time on Wednesday, you've got to sacrifice time on Friday. No, that's not how relationships work. In fact, all of us have experienced relationships where there has to be a shifting in the person sacrificing in a given moment. I remember when I was getting ready to marry my first in my first time when Bryce's mom and I were talking in a relationship. She was entrenched in her career in Atlanta. We wanted to be together. I wanted to get a PhD in New York. My place that I wanted to get my PhD was Union Theological Seminary. However, if we were going to be together, I had to make a demographic sacrifice. And sometimes I wish I didn't. But guess what? If I didn't, I wouldn't have Bryce, y'all. But what I did was I made a sacrifice to stay in Atlanta. So I changed my PhD plans from Union Theological Seminary to Emory University, and I went and did my PhD at Emory University. I didn't ask her to make the same type of demographic sacrifice because, yes, relationships sometimes ask us to make sacrifices in places where another person is not. I'm not talking tit for tat, but here's what I am saying. You should not be in a relationship where you are the only person willing or actually doing the sacrificing. I'm trying to help someone. And so one of the safeguards you need to have, if you're sacrificing, you should not be in a relationship where you are sacrificing for people who are not willing to sacrifice for you. You should not be in a relationship where you are sacrificing for people who are not willing to sacrifice for you. Come here, American chattel slavery. Black people being asked to sacrifice in America when America was not willing to sacrifice for Black people. Come here, abusive romantic relationship where someone is being asked to sacrifice where the other person is not sacrificing for them. So, what is a safeguard against sacrifice? Analyze, evaluate your relationship, and ask yourself, am I sacrificing for someone who is willing to sacrifice for me? Do I give all my time to someone who's not willing to give their time to me? Do I sacrifice all my money for someone who won't spend a dime on me? Am I sacrificing happiness for someone who won't sacrifice happiness for me? Am I sacrificing my desires that we always go where this person wants to go, but they never sacrifice their desires for me? If you are attempting to safeguard yourself against toxic and abusive sacrifice, meet in the middle. That's the first thing we said. Here's the second thing we said. Have a bottom line. Have a bottom line. If you are going to safeguard yourself against toxic and unhealthy sacrifice, you need to have a bottom line. Now, here's how I think I can articulate this best, right? We defined sacrifice this past Sunday. We defined sacrifice as giving up something I want to gain something I want more. How does this definition help us identify? How does this definition help us identify our bottom lines? I'm glad you asked. Here we go. Let me write this definition down just in case. Sacrifice is giving up something I want in order to gain something I want more. You want a good definition of sacrifice? That's one of the best I've ever heard. I'm sacrificing when I'm giving up something I want in order to gain something I want more. Let me talk about bottom lines really quick, and then I'm going to leave y'all alone today, and hopefully this is helpful. When looking at our bottom lines, how do we identify them? How do we identify them? I'm glad you asked. How do we know our bottom lines? Here's what we know. Here it is. Bottom lines are really only identifying what I want more. I identify my bottom lines by asking myself, what do I want more? Two ways you can think about this. Let me write this down. I like this, y'all. I feel good about this. I like this because if I'm not helping anybody else today, I am helping me. I identify as what I want more. My bottom line, my bottom line is what I identify as what I want more. This is my bottom line. This is my bottom line. What I want more. I've got more though. It gets better, Ashanti. I like this. Ashanti said, I get it. Prioritizing or absolute must. Here we go. But there are two ways I can think about that more in my relationship. My bottom line is what I identify as what I want more. Here's the first thing. The first more I'm identifying Amy Cowherd is what I want more than the relationship. Y'all do realize there are some things that you want more than any relationship. Can I just give you all a couple? I'm trying to help somebody, Jorge. I'm trying to help somebody. I'm trying to give practical tools. I'm trying to help you all understand how to think through and clearly identify my bottom line. Can I tell you something I want more than any relationship? My self-respect. I want my self-respect more than any relationship. If any relationship asks me to sacrifice my self-respect, that becomes a bottom line for me. Because more than any relationship, I want my self-respect. What do I want more than any relationship? My mental health. If any relationship asks me to sacrifice my mental health, I don't need that relationship. My sanity, Sonia Harper, is a bottom line. Yes, it's a bottom line. So let me go back. How do I understand bottom lines? This is my second thing. The second safeguard on sacrificing is having bottom lines. I won't sacrifice in an unhealthy way if I have bottom lines. But how do I identify my bottom lines? Here's how. My bottom line is what I identify as what I want more. So sometimes I've got to sacrifice the relationship for what I want more. What is sacrifice? Is sacrificing, is giving up something I want. I want my boo. Oh my goodness, they cute. I mean, oh, they make me feel good. Oh my goodness, my grace. They know how to touch me the right way. Or like Johnny Gill says, rub me the right way. But guess what? I want my self-respect more. I want my self-respect more than I want to be rubbed the right way. I want my mental health more than I want to be rubbed the right way. And so sometimes I got to sacrifice the relationship. I want my peace of mind, Amy, more than I want to be rubbed the right way. And so in order to have and identify my bottom line, here's what I got to do. I've got to identify what I want more. The first more I've got to identify is what I want more than the relationship. Can I give y'all one more and I'm going to leave y'all alone? I promise I'm trying to help today. I need to understand what I want more than the relationship. But listen to what else, Ashanti Edmond, I've got to figure out. Gloria Martin, not only do I need to figure out what I want more than the relationship, here's what else. I've got to figure out what I want more in the relationship. Stop, rewind, play. I not only have to identify what I want more than the relationship, but Patricia Burton, if I really, really want to understand where my sacrifice needs to be on par and healthy, I need to go ahead and diagnose and identify what I want more in the relationship. What do I mean? What do I want more than the relationship? What I want more than the relationship is my self-respect. What I want more than the relationship is my peace of mind. But here's something I want in the relationship. In the relationship, I want mutual love. Oh yeah. Mutual love is the bottom line for me. What do I want more in the relationship? I want mutual effort. I don't want to be working on this relationship by myself. I don't want to be working on my faults by myself. I don't want to be working on making you happy by myself. I don't want to be working on things by myself. What do I want more in the relationship? Mutual effort. I'm trying to help somebody. I love this. She says, never swim a river for someone who won't jump a puddle for you. Come talk to us, Patricia Burton. We're talking about sacrifice, but we're not just talking about sacrifice. We're talking about safeguarding ourselves against unhealthy and toxic sacrifice. If I'm going to safeguard myself against toxic and an unhealthy sacrifice, I got to meet in the middle. Got to be sacrificed for somebody who is sacrificing with me and for me. But I also got to have bottom lines. And to identify my bottom lines, I really just have to identify what I want more. Two things I got to identify what I want more if I'm going to identify healthy bottom lines, to have a healthy relationship, and to sacrifice in a healthy way. The first thing is I got to identify what I want more than the relationship. I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds tough, but you need to understand what is more important to you than being in the relationship. All relationships are not worth it. All people are not worth it. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. There are some parent-child relationships that have grown too toxic to be worth it. There are some friendships that have grown too toxic to be worth it. There are some employment relationships that have grown too toxic to be worth it. There are some friendships that have grown too toxic to be worth it. And so if I'm going to identify healthy bottom lines, I need to identify what is it that I want more than the relationship. But here's what else. Can't just identify what I want more than the relationship. I've also got to identify what I want more in the relationship. What do I want more in the relationship? In my relationship, I want mutual love. I want mutual effort. Oh my God, listen to this. I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe. What do I mean by feeling safe? If I feel like this person is out being disloyal to me, I don't feel safe. If I feel like this person is cheating on me, I don't feel safe. Here's this. If I tell this person my innermost emotions, that I'm hurt, that I'm sad, that I'm tired, and they use it against me, I don't feel safe. So what do I need more in the relationship? I need safety, Evelyn Ellis. I need to feel safe. I need that in my relationship. And if I don't have that in my relationship, then I'll sacrifice what I want, the relationship, for what I want more, safety. Oh, I'm trying. If my relationship with a church, if I'm at a church where I don't feel safe, do you know how many queer brothers and sisters are in churches where they don't feel safe? Do you know how many trans brothers and sisters are in churches where they don't feel safe? Do you know how many black people are in white churches where they don't feel safe? Y'all, these principles work for any and every relationship. I'm trying to help us identify bottom lines. What do I want more in the relationship? I want mutual love. I want mutual effort. I want to feel safe. I want respect. More than I want a relationship, what I want in my relationship more than having a relationship without it is respect. My God, I'm not telling no names, but that's what I learned a long time ago. I know there was a moment where I should have broke up with someone and I didn't. The moment I really knew this person will not respect me the way I want to be respected. I wish somebody would have gave me this check-in in my 20s, you all. I could have saved myself some time. I could have saved myself some tears. I could have saved myself some trials. I could have saved myself some tribulations if I would have clearly identified what do I want more in a relationship. I got to leave y'all alone. I promise I'm through. Let me just go over it one more time and I'm through. Listen, if we're going to be safeguarded against sacrificing in an unhealthy way, we need two safeguards I want to suggest to you. One, we need to meet in the middle. We need to sacrifice with people who are sacrificing for and with us. Two, we need to have bottom lines in our sacrificing. What is a bottom line? First, what is sacrifice? It's giving something I want in order to gain something I want more. My bottom line, beloved, is simply what I identify is what I want more. The thing that I want most becomes my bottom line. The thing that I want so much more that the relationship doesn't become worth it anymore is my bottom line. Two things, I've got two ways I've got to think about the more that I want in my relationship. I need to know, going into any relationship, what I want more than the relationship. I need to know when I go into any relationship what I want more than the relationship. The last thing I need to know is what I want more in the relationship. I got to identify what I want more in the relationship. With that being said, beloved, let's bow our head. Let's close our eyes. Let's go to God in prayer. God, we come to you today. I thanking you and loving you and honoring you, God, because God, you are the source of our strength. And God, you are the source of our life. Today, God, I'm grateful, and I'm grateful, God, that you are a God that sacrifices for us. That's what we're reminded of when we look at Jesus. Jesus' life. Jesus' life reminds us that we have a God that loves us enough to sacrifice for us. You give of yourself for us. You die so that we might live. You decrease so that we might increase. God, you have made sacrifices for us. And so, God, we come unashamedly and unapologetically asking that we would make sacrifices for you. And God, I want to be clear, God. I'm praying that in every relationship we're in that's healthy, that we become people who are willing and open to sacrifice. Sacrifice is a healthy act. Sacrifice is a healthy behavior when done when done the right way. So today, God, what I'm praying for every man and woman who's listening to me today is I'm praying that you give us the eyes, the ears, and the spiritual discernment to learn how to sacrifice in healthy ways and to learn how when too much sacrifice is hurting us. God, I'm praying that someone right now who may be in a toxic relationship, who's sacrificing in a way that's hurting them, that's tearing them apart, that is exhausting them, that is killing them. God, give them the strength to learn their bottom lines. And sometimes, God, we'll have to give up what we want, a relationship, for something we want more. Safety in a relationship, mutual effort in a relationship, self-respect, peace of mind, mental health. God, what are those things that we want more than relationships? What are those things that we want more in relationships? God, I am lifting up your children today. I'm lifting up men and women in this check-in today. I'm lifting up someone who's not here today but will watch the recording. God, I'm lifting up the person who will be tagged. I'm lifting up the family member who this will be shared with. I'm lifting up the friend who this will be shared with, God. And I'm praying that you give us the will. I'm praying that you give us the courage. I'm praying that you give us the wherewithal to make the moves we need to make, to be healthy, to be happy, and to love well. Love sacrifices, God. So never rid us of the ability and the desire to sacrifice, but just help us to sacrifice in healthy ways. God, I'm praying for our prayer list today that we've listed. So many people that are on our hearts and minds. And right now, God, we lift up the Heart Health Pop-Up Shop in Fayetteville for Felicia Holmes. We lift up John Edmond, Zoe Freeman, Dominique Smith, Andre Zion and Ashanti Edmond, and Alfreda Pushia. We lift today China and Shankta Palmer, Rob, Jason, Leon, Martin, Sean, Lewis, Ayana Palmer, Mary Green, Gary Barnes, Margaret Darby and family, Carlotta Best, the homeless, Lawrence Jones, Dana Tanner, Rusheen Reed, Constance Johnson, Rajon Hayes, Valeria Boykin, Mike Allen, Deborah Bird, Parkita Nassau, Tony Harper, Anthony and Asia, Ada Carter, Martin and Rita Carter, and Sonia Harper. We lift right now Tiffany Dawson and Mia Tarvin, the niece and sister of Lisa and Norwood, who grieve the loss of their father and husband. Sam Martin Jr., Theodore Diggs, Pamela Brown, Lenarda Brown, Irene Jenkins, Annie Murphy, Antonio Cowherd, Boyd Harris, Martina Holmes, Amy Cowherd, Laureen Simmons and family, Lenore Henry, Kraut and Clouch family, Clementine Williams, Roosevelt Morrell, Ted Simpson, Vanice Williams, Nona Honeycutt, Mackenzie Morrell, Trey Morrell, Roosevelt C. Morrell, and Morrell K. We lift today Lauren Murray, Michael Jala, the Jala family, Sonia Johnson Clark, Joy Treadwell, John Beatty, Ruthie Prophet, Samuel Perry, Tracy Blackwell, and James Walker. For every name I've called, God, I'm lifting right now. For every name I've called, God, release your grace and your mercy. For every name I've called, God, release your healing and protection. For every name I've called, God, lift and comfort. For every name I've called, God, allow your glory to fall on them and fall on us. This is our prayer. We pray it in the loving, liberating, and life-giving name of Jesus. Amen, amen, amen. Beloved, we love you. We love you. I want to thank you for joining us today. I thank you for being a part of our check-in. We're on Love Works Part 3, so I pray that if you are in the Fayetteville area, you'll come to worship with us in person. If you can't, I pray that you will worship with us live. Either way, this Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I pray that you'll join us as we continue our journey to do the works of love with God, with ourselves, and with people that we have identified that we want to improve our love relationship with. But until Sunday, I'm praying and I'm touching and agreeing with each and every one of you. Evelyn Ellis, I'm touching and agreeing with you. Felicia Holmes and Lisa Norwood, I'm touching and agreeing with you. Michelle Gordon and Ashanti Edmond, I'm touching and agreeing with you. Deborah Jackson and Dina, I'm touching and agreeing with you. Boyd Harris and Margaret White Darby, I am touching and agreeing with you. Gloria Martin, Gerard Johnson, I'm touching and agreeing with you. Amy Cowherd, Jorge Diaz, I'm touching and agreeing with each and every one of you. May God bless you. May God keep you. And please remember to live in love. Margaret White Darby, I'm touching and agreeing with you. Y'all have a great day. Have a great weekend. See you Sunday.